Hi everyone, my name is Laura, WiCyS Community Manager, and I would like to welcome you to this WiCyS webinar with Dell on the topic of Dell Security and Resilience Organization. But before we start, I'd like to introduce you a little bit more about the WiCyS organization. We often go by our, give me 1 second. We often go by our acronyms WiCyS as we and sisters because that's exactly what we are, a global cyber sisterhood. We're a 501c3 with exactly what we are, with over 70.5 members in 70 countries. WiCyS is a premier organization with a global reach dedicated to bring together women in cyber. Our mission is to recruit, retain, and advance women in cybersecurity. All of our programs and initiatives are made possible by our supporting strategic partners. We have our professional affiliates, student chapters, equity advocacy committee, mentor-mentee programs, speaker bureau, job board, and so much more. You can view our training programs and initiatives on our website at WiCyS.org to learn more about the different ways to get involved with the WiCyS community. A reminder to please ask questions throughout the webinar. You can put them in the chat and the presenter will answer them at the end. We have experts here today and look forward to hearing from you in the audience. If you have done so already, please subscribe to our WiCyS newsletter at WiCyS.org to stay up to date any upcoming weekly events and trainings. And with us today, we have the company Dell on the topic of Dell's Security and Resilience Organization panel. So I will hand it over to everybody to introduce themselves. Thank you, everyone.
Hi, thanks for having us. We have a little bit of some background noise. I'm not sure if you could help with that while we start off. So my name is Lisa Bradley, and I'm going to be the moderator today of our panel. We have some awesome women here to represent Dell Technologies and different aspects of our security organization. So just to introduce myself a little bit, I'm a senior director in the product and application security team. My focus is on PSERT, Product Security Incident Response Team, and SBOM initiative. I also have our bug bounty program, security champion, security training program, and a little side of customer trust that where we focus on inquiries on our product security aspects and what we do at Dell. So I'm going to go and let me introduce Tonya next. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Tonya Drummond, and I'm the Director of Security and Customer Trust. You might have heard Lisa mention that. What on earth is that? Well, the basic data of my team, what it looks like is that we respond to a variety of security requests that are required from our customers because they really have to assess their vendor. So as a vendor, we have to make sure that we're complying with NIST and ISO and so very many industry standards, along with global regulations that are aligned to IT, security and cybersecurity, physical security, and all types of security, along with privacy. So all of those areas have to be aligned for our customers to see us as a vendor that they want to do business with. So our role in the organization is really to do all kinds of things. We negotiate acceptable contract requirements and documentation. We actually answer questionnaires on any sort of questions that they want to ask us aligned to any area of NIST or ISO. We have to make sure that our products and our supply chain and even the partners that we use are following the right kinds of rules and have the right kinds of practices in their environment. We host audits for any customer that has the contractual right to do so. And then lastly, I guess what I'd say is we allow conversations to happen where we can give a knowledge share. Sometimes they want to know what the largest technology company in the world, what they do and how they do what they do in order to protect themselves. And of course, once we protect ourselves, we protect them as our customer. I say that for me, what I enjoy most, I really enjoy that our space is dynamic. It's ever changing. Our environment is just never the same from one day to the next. We make sure that we're always aware and prepared for what our customer needs. So we kind of shift all the time. We're adjusting. But I'd say for the most part, we smile, we keep a happy face on the things that we have to do. We never get too annoyed with what has to be done. And I'd say that our focus is really to make sure that anything that Dell does well, we're going to showcase it. We're going to make them feel good with who we are. We're going to make sure that we get new customers that want to stay with us. And all of our customers that are with us right now feel comfortable. And if there's something new that they need, they don't even worry about it because they're saying that's one of our best partners. We're good with them.
Great. Thanks you, Tonya. Let's go over to Ashwini.
Hey, Lisa. I'm really excited to be here and talk about my role in Dell and my pillar. I come from the product and application security and in the industry, which is typically referred as the AppSec program, right? So that's what we do. We do everything in STL, the secure development lifecycle, starting from threat modeling to static code analysis to the nested scans to looking at your code, manual verification activities, the pen testing activity, and eventually calculating the security score or maturity for a given release. For your system, which is a product or an application. So we span across the STL and we try to deliver it to our customers, that is our internal stakeholders, product and application teams. And my focus is pretty much threat modeling because I love doing threat modeling. So that is my specialty area. So we involve with the teams much before. Earlier in the development lifecycle, while they're talking about design, so that we ensure that security is shifted left, right? It's not an afterthought. So that security is baked into our systems while all of the functionality is being discussed, while all of the features are being discussed, and that all of our systems follow the mantra of shift security left and embed security while they've been built itself. So that's what we typically do in the product and application security SDL team in at Dell.
Thank you, Ashwini. Cathe, why don't we go to you next?
Sure. My name's Cathe Yusupov, and I lead SRO's Global Intelligence and Analysis team, which is actually based in the physical security part of the organization. So our team's mission is to help the company anticipate potentially impactful events that could affect Dell's business continuity, in addition to helping ensure the physical security of Dell's assets, employees, travelers, supply chains, and business interests. So I have a small team of analysts around the globe, including very soon, for the first time, a strategic cybersecurity intelligence analyst. And we're responsible for horizon scanning for threats, primarily external threats. We work alongside Dell's Operations Infusion Center, which is responsible for maintaining that real-time situational awareness and tactical response. But our time horizon extends out weeks, if not months or years, to be able to identify issues of concern that could significantly disrupt Dell's business operations. So one clear example of this, in November of 2021, we produced an analysis that called out the potential for Russia to resume military operations in Ukraine. And those business implications that we identified were not just for the business environment in Ukraine, but also degradation of our operational environment in Russia and the potential for that to kick off cyber actions as well. So there's a clear connectivity between cyber and physical at Dell.
Thank you. Lavanya, why don't you go next?
Hey, hi everyone. I'm very happy to be part of this webinar. So I'm Lavanya. I'm based out of Bangalore, India. I'm a cybersecurity program manager working with Dell Technologies from past 6.5 years with CSG team, that is Client Solutions Group. My primary focus is on risk and compliance management, where it involves for me to coordinate and partner with different stakeholders, leaders, security advisors, SRO, that is our security resilience organization. We usually call SRO internally is that is my main focus. And also I involve in facilitating the reviewing the security issues through JIRA tickets as an actionable form to working with the security advisors and security champions to get it fixed. And also I involve in mainly other aspect is like working with other teams within the organization to ensure the best security practices are implemented, working with various IT teams to making sure to secure our systems, development team with to secure our applications, and mainly our business teams to make sure that we are following the best practices. Mainly what I enjoy is, as Tonya mentioned, is a fast changing environment every day. So we do get to face every challenges day to day, and we come with unpredictable things coming in on a day to day basis. So that's really helps me um, understand, be flexible, and be prone to the new changes coming in. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, we have one more person to introduce. Neha.
Hi, everyone. I'm Neha Thethi. I'm currently based in the UK. I've been working with Dell Vulnerability Management Team for the past 4 years as a remediation advisor. So my current role is the lead for Cyber Threat Mitigation Program to protect Dell from imminent threats by addressing root cause of security findings on the Dell managed infrastructure. So in simple terms, don't just apply a Band-Aid, fix the issue from the root. So this is one of many cyber programs contributing to securing Dell. So think about, securing passwords, credentials, securing against unwanted software, securing cloud misconfigurations. We've also worked on the emerging threat that Cathe just mentioned, right, from a cybersecurity perspective, Russia, Ukraine, Cisco, etc. So all of these issues, they may have a root cause that needs treatment by enhancing controls. And we're not just talking technical, but we're talking people, process, and technology. So in day-to-day, we may receive a finding from red team reports or a pen test reports or other sources. We triage, prioritize, contact stakeholders. Our team plays an advisory role, and we provide recommendations for cybersecurity affecting other teams. We work with architecture, incident response, IT, compliance, sales, legal, really all the other teams within Dell who need fixing of these issues from the root in terms of, and again, these could span from midterm, long-term, solutions, spanning years as well, because we're talking about root cause remediation. So to me, my day-to-day is, so we're a small team of 10 members. My responsibilities include initially program establishment. This is not a very old program, it's 22 years. Now it's more enhancing, maturing, strategy contribution, driving complex remediation discussions with stakeholders. And I'd be lying if I didn't say that there is a lot of documentation. And the last, the most important one is reporting up to leadership and providing this visibility, right? So this is one of the most important things that I've learned through this journey of leading a program with support from my leadership. And I'd like to call out, Tony Dasho, our senior director, my manager, Vish Singh, no matter how well you're managing a program, if there's lack of right level of visibility, the value could be diluted. So I really strongly recommend, showcase your work, make it visible, timely, and to the right audience. In terms of enjoying the role, it's quite multifaceted. It's a combination of technical, people, and organization skills. The thing I enjoy most is researching different remediation options, controls, looking at frameworks such as MITRE ATT&CK, SIS, CSA, and also interacting with stakeholders about threat, risk, and their perception of it, because it can be quite subjective, right? We can have fun conversations. It's challenging, and I enjoy that challenge. So yeah, that's me. Over to you, Lisa.
That's great. So we have so many different facets here being represented. I love it. From traditional cybersecurity, thinking of infrastructure to physical security, governance, risk, and compliance, and then of course product and application security, and then an aspect of customer trust. So I love the diversity that we have here. So what I really want to head into is some questions of more like besides your day-to-day, but thinking about like threats, because like the reason why our job exists is because there's threats all over the place, there's risks all over the place. So if you think like, what are the biggest threats your pillar faces and how you're working to address them? So let me ask this of Ashwini. Why don't you take this one?
Yeah, Lisa, thank you for that question. Supply chain security, I think, is the biggest challenge right now, especially related to a new threat that's called as repo jacking. So it's related to repositories and GitHub, where a lot of our software developers use across the organization, not just us, right? It could be even outside of the organization. So within the repo jack attack, it could be that the original owner of the repository changed the repository, the name, or just left this behind. So a malicious actor has managed to overtake this and put in malicious packages. And as software developers try to download it and use the same packages and then embed them in our systems and then deliver it to our customers, right? So it is an escalated attack. It's just not impacting us. It is then translating to all of our customers being impacted. And it's not just it's not just system damage, technical damage, it's reputational damage, and it also could come with a cost. So it is something that's really important. I think it's the current focus of the industry, especially in terms of how you should be applying processes and controls to ensure that systems are built and designed in a way that you're not susceptible to repo jacking attacks. I think this is the challenge, biggest challenge that we're currently facing, outside of obviously all of the new initiatives around the EOS bombs and all of that. I think if I had to break it down to the most granular version, it would be repo jacking.
Yeah, that's definitely like in the weeds of things, right? Where we think of like higher level threats, but now it's like the evolution of what our threats are around us. They keep changing, and so we have to keep getting better and smarter and work better and smarter and have more protection in for our customers. So I like that example. Thank you, Cathe. Why don't you take this at a different angle? I'm sure you have.
Absolutely. So as we're talking about the evolution of understanding of threats, that's absolutely the case that's happened in the physical security realm, where we understand that the front lines of conflict and targeting aren't necessarily in the physical world. I just attended a talk by the multi-state ISAC about extreme far right and far left actors that are increasingly using cyber tactics to attack infrastructure. So those are some of the types of manifestations that we see in the physical security world that have their genesis in cyber tactics. And I know that we have a really robust team to be able to work defenses with tactics and various threat actors. And what my team tends to look at is that 30,000 foot view of what's motivating these actors. What would put Dell in the front lines or in the target scope of some of these actors, and by doing so, put us in a more anticipatory stance to mitigate.
Great. So we were just talking about threats. What about, in order to be smart of approaching threats and the risks that we have, there has to be some innovation and emerging technologies, right, that we need to pay attention to. So are there any specific innovations in your organization or pillar that you particularly want to talk about? Or, if not, what are the emerging technologies around your area that most of us maybe have not heard of? Why don't Lavanya, you take this one here? I think you're still muted.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Lisa. I always enjoy mainly supporting our products, services, and solutions that Dell builds up. Okay, by providing solutions to the customers, which is always an emerging technology. And also, I'm always amazed with the very different problems which is appearing with cybersecurity and the different ways we tackle with that. And one of the most innovations we see is through the AI in our cybersecurity field, which helps in mainly AI helps in uh, automating the tasks, then reporting incidents, then trying to fix things, and also few things like mainly identifying the threats. This also helps in assessing the right risk and compliance of a particular product. This is the major one. And also coming to that, we can see that increasing landscape across changing rapidly across EVO, which is known as the AI Executive Order 14028, which helps in mainly fixing, mainly identifying the nation security, helping the managing a nation's cyber security, and also enhancing the security for the supply chain network. That is more important one. And also we see that regulatory landscape is changing and evolving rapidly, like having the bills, the with new bills, policies, laws coming into picture, and which is going across the world, introduced mainly in China, US, and Europe, and I show that it will continue to persist with other organizations too. And also major one what I would say is with EO coming in, and also we have to implement the SBOM. SBOM is one of that. So SBOM is nothing but a fair bill of materials, which is actually a building block for software security and supply chain network. This mainly SBOMs is nothing but a list of inventory and a list of ingredients for to form the software components. But how do you use this SBOMs? So now it seems like emerging technology mainly to make this the software framework, which mainly addresses this software for product security. So the first step is only the creation of SBOM. But however, what would be the next steps? Like how do we identify this? What is the device which is using it? So we have to make sure that they are clearly merged, reviewed, validated, and how do you manage the SBOMs with thousands of uh, software components, and where these SBOMs are shared, whom it's been shared, what customers, etc. So it comes to various places when you come to this. So if you go on adding, it will be multiple things we can go and add to it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with the executive order. It's a I have a love-hate relationship with it. Um, I'm very happy because it's definitely changing the industry and moving things forward. But the work to make sure that we're adhering to it has been a significant on us. So my love-hate relationship with it. Tonya, I'm sure you have a different view on here with innovation and emerging technologies. What is your angle on this? Make sure you unmute yourself.
I forgot about that. We all had to go and mute, by the way, everyone who's listening, because we heard a lot of background noise. So we all got muted, even us, the speakers. So trust me when I say it was a little bit confusing. Anyway, I do get excited about innovation and emerging technologies, about anything in security. And the fact is, there's a million things I can talk about because I represent all kinds of areas. But I'm going to stick closer to home. Obviously, there are things I have to do in order to take care of representing Dell, Dell's IT department, our whole security and resiliency department and privacy department. And what I end up doing is basically look at how I can do it the fastest. I'll give you an example. 5 to 6 years ago, we were taking in just hundreds of requests, basically. Now it's thousands. So as we look at that number ranging from such a big amount now, we have to figure out how can we do it as quickly as possible to make our customers not get frustrated that it's taking us forever to get this done. If you look at that, basically what that means is we have to work smarter. So I'm always about smart working, but it's imperative for us to really understand once we see that demand, how do we keep our smiles on our faces and get this stuff done fast, but still with quality. So about 4 years ago, we realized that there was absolutely no ability for us to copy and paste, for example, answers into the thousands of questions that we were getting. We found a company that uses AI. So Lavanya mentioned AI. That excites us, right? Well, of course, I'm scared for them to answer for us. So it was the AI that was kind of starting. So the AI that we're using is a tool that it takes in as a knowledge base, but it learns how to answer based on the information you put in, not going out and finding it on the internet, but literally what we put in there. So if we align those questions that come into domains and put certain kinds of words in there that help them understand that we're telling the difference between, a standard or a process or control, it starts to figure it out. So I'd say, considering last year we answered 43,000 questions, the year before was 53,000 questions, when you're going to round that kind of number out, we really love the fact that this tool has learned how to answer our questions very well by something called magic. I don't want to explain that, but nonetheless, AI is amazing. So we also find that building a center of excellence that has a repeatable and sustainable process that complements AI, that keeps us innovative on a regular basis. And lastly, I wanted to say we enjoy learning new security procedures on a regular basis. We have to keep up with it. So we found ways to read, share with each other, allow, certain wiki pages, and just using this just simple tools that we have to communicate with one another to keep us up to date. So we can quickly look at something, get the real understanding, understand a law, understand a regulation, and figure out how it aligns to us because we matrix it. So simple innovation, but it still excites us because we get to take care of all of you and showcase all of these lovely ladies and their work that their teams do quickly and effectively.
I love that. I love that. From AI to just simple things like communications, right? So Neha, I think you have something that some tool that's pretty cool with emerging tech. Do you want to explain what that is?
Yeah, sure. I would share Tonya's and Lavanya's excitement here. So one of the things under cyber threat is how do you prioritize all the hundreds of issues that you're getting, right? Like what is the top tier that you want to address first? And the way we prioritize is, we look at red team assessments, we look at pen tests, right? So red team assessments are very, very critical for us because as opposed to a vulnerability scan, for example, the red team assessment would show you what a threat actor can really do within your environment, right? And these assessments and operations are absolutely wonderful, to understand your cybersecurity posture. However, they also can be expensive, right? So, obviously, we'll still continue to use vendors who offer, red team assessments, but a very exciting tool is a breach attack simulation tool that we've seen in the past couple of years. So these tools might also use AI ML, as we are hearing, right? It's there in every tool now. But really what this tool does is that it would simulate what an actual red team would do. So it would try to simulate the attack path similar to a red team. It would also provide you, really great graphs and a beautiful report at the end of it. But the real value for us, apart from, all the other benefits, is the prioritization, right? It comes sooner, maybe more cost effective, and also the validation once we apply a fix, can be done sooner. So having a tool like this is absolutely, a great value add for the work we do.
Great, thank you for sharing that. So a lot of people that might be listening might be wondering, how did we all get here, right? What inspired us to pursue a career? I mean, you could tell we're all passionate about what we do, and and maybe what are some of the challenging aspects of our role and how do we handle it? Because security can be challenging, and to stay in the field and stay excited and with all the threats and all the work that there is. How do we stay invigorated into it? So maybe everybody could just take this one a little bit here. I'll start. I'll start with Cathe.
So my background, I still consider myself a newbie in the cybersecurity realm. I transitioned from pursuing a PhD in political science to working for think tanks in Washington, D.C., the Brookings Institution, the RAND Corporation, where I was focused on foreign policy. I co-authored a book on Russian foreign policy back in 2009, and then worked in the energy consulting sphere where I was helping oil majors to pursue winning contracts in some really lucrative places of the world, where you needed a specialized understanding of the geopolitical situation. About in 2015, I took a role as a senior security intelligence analyst for Europe, the Middle East, and Africa within a large multinational corporation. And that was really my entree into the security realm. And there is just an endless wealth of pockets of application of security. I mean, there's never a dull day in security. And so now, as I'm leading the team at Dell, we're expanding our capability set to provide that comprehensive threat landscape for the company with the inclusion of cyber represented. So that's just a little bit of how I got here.
Great. Ashwini, what about you?
I started off by joining a regular Indian IT services company because honestly I had the wrong reasons. It was pretty much do your engineering and then get into a software company. Everybody was doing that. I didn't know why they were doing it. I thought it sounded cool, and all my peers are going to do the same thing, so let me just do it. But once I joined and started off as a developer, it was pretty straightforward for me, and I couldn't really envision doing that for the rest of my life. I wanted to do something really fun, and breaking into things seemed like a lot of fun back then when I was just about 22 and 23. So I got one of the early certifications of CEH and started off as a pen tester. I was a pen tester for a really long time, and then I think I sort of grew up and translated all of that energy and learnings into building secure design and architecture and threat modeling activity. So honestly speaking, it started for fun because I wanted to do something beyond the regular stuff and break into things. Yeah, it was more for mischief that I started with this area, and I'm glad I did it. Yeah.
That's great. Is there anything that's your what's your most challenging aspect of the role besides having to work with me, right?
um, to actually get people to take security seriously, the non-security folks, I think, has been a bit of a challenge over the years. It's a lot better now, but I think I've learned a way to work with teams, non-security professionals. When I walk into, I've realized when you get a certain amount of security knowledge, you think like you know it all, and you walk into the room like you own the room, and you start talking to them, right? And I've learned that it's good, yeah, in a certain way, but it also has certain drawbacks. So when I walk into a room now, I make sure that I put across this point that they are the heroes. They are the ones developing solutions that is going to save the world. And I'm the one just enabling them to make their amazing solutions secure. So they are Batman and I'm just their sidekick. And then the magic happens, and then, all great work happens. So learning this trick and using this Batman example all the time has really worked for me and helped me get over this challenge.
That's great. I love that. I'm going to have to use that. I'm going to have to steal that, I think. Neha, why don't you take this question? How did you get into this career?
Yeah, so I was pursuing my master's in software engineering in India at ITM North Cap University, during which I attended an ethical hacking workshop, right? So the workshop left an impression on me. It was very hands-on. I think somewhat like Ashwini, right? It fascinated me. They demonstrated a couple of recon techniques, SQL injection, and at the time when you don't know anything about security, that is really cool, right? So with a bit of luck and push from a good friend, I landed up in Dublin, where I did my master's in cybersecurity in Institute of Technology, Blanchardstown. And then I joined a company called BH Consulting, a small firm, but I've learned so much. The CEO, Brian Honan, he's been a great mentor. Valerie Lyons, they were amazing. At the time, my role was, a lot of it consisted of digital forensics, ISO 27001 auditing. So a lot of client visits, travel to different countries as well. And then I wanted to, do something that is less travel, right? So I looked for a role that was remote. I got this opportunity at Dell, and vulnerability management seemed quite exciting. And so I joined Tony's team. Initially I was involved with high-profile vulnerabilities. Again, really cool stuff. Trying to address, issues within 72 hours or 48 hours of, releasing a fix being released. And then I transitioned into this more kind of root cause analysis type of a program. So it has been a great journey, but what I say always is cybersecurity is never boring. You have so much to do. There's so much variety, and so yes, it's been a great journey. In terms of a challenge, I think I did mention this a little bit before, but prioritizing issues and determining what will help the business take the right risk decision. So that's not always easy, right? Because sometimes these issues can't be 100% remediated. So as a hypothetical, right? So let's say you have a spreadsheet full of privileged account passwords, right? It's on SharePoint, open to all employees. Typical recommendation could be, remove the passwords, store the passwords in a vault, rotate, etc. But what if the business doesn't have a password vault? They don't have access to a vault to store those types of passwords, because even that's a distinction, right? Like you have your service accounts, you have your, highly privileged, which is fine, but you might have other passwords. So in that case, what do you do? So you think about compensating controls, you think about encryption, DLP, monitoring access, and then it could also be, some level of residual risk acceptance. So really, just to summarize, supporting the business to make the right risk decision, that can be challenging, but it's fun.
Totally makes sense. Yes. Lavanya, how about you?
Okay. Me, as Neha mentioned and Ashwini mentioned, I started as I work as a developer, then moved as a dev lead, then I moved up the ladder with project management, then to technical program management. Being a security champion made me transition to the security, which helped me understand and dig into more into understand the internal vulnerability management across the application by bridging these gaps within different application teams, infrastructure teams, and many other groups within the teams. Mainly, this helps in understanding what's happening across, what is the root cause, how do you make sure these best practices are implemented, what is the use of using these best practices, what are tools used, how we want to make sure that. So these are things which help me understand more, and I wanted to be into security. So this paved my way to security. And coming to the challenging part, I would say the unpredictable issues which comes rising day to day. You never know what risk arises on a day-to-day basis, and how do you explore it, because it's not the same solution which would be applicable for each product or an application. So we need to be making sure you learn new ways, explore new ways. How do you defend those securities? How do you want to make sure they are getting addressed in the thing? So risk and compliance is very difficult to know what is the impact, what is the risk involved, and how do you make sure these risks are communicated to the leaders in an effective manner and in a simple phrase. Because as leaders, as you know, are very busy, they want to know what is being there, how it can be impacted, what is the risk involved, and how it will be remediated. So it's a simple task which has been asked, and we need to make sure that they are addressed properly. And as I said, this is challenging, and also this I would say we need to ensure the balance between micro and macro units of it, what has been there, because there are multiple information for risk being involved. But what do we pick up with it? What is required and what needs to be submitted? That is more challenging here. It's not an easy way how we want to submit the summarized information to the leaders. So I would say that this would be the challenging part. But I would say this helps me learning in new ways, exploring new ways. How do you want to implement it? What do you want to prioritize? What is the best for the team? What is the best for the company? That would be the challenging aspect when you come up with all these attributes.
Thanks. So it sounds like a lot of us, well, not all of us, so have come through some kind of engineering or something. Besides Cathe, I think yours wasn't, but Tonya's next, and her story is a little bit different. I think we actually just posted it on LinkedIn, your story, Tonya, that was published. But why don't you tell us your background?
Yeah, thanks for that. I smile as I listen to all of you who really knew what you wanted to do and were planning it from young people, and going to school for it and all of that. It was just not mine. I think that you're absolutely right when you say that, Lisa. As a previous entrepreneur, I really owned several businesses with my husband. I had no intention of ever working in a corporate environment, much less in cybersecurity as a field. It just happened because I needed a full-time job to get a house. When we moved from Austin to New York, my husband and I decided that we wouldn't bring our main business that we had for years here. And we needed time to establish the one that we did want to bring with us to Austin. So it wasn't going to be something we did right away. And now he changed his line of work. The business we had was basically construction and home repair. And we got to Austin and it was August. It was just hot. And he said, I'm not doing that here. So anyway, technology kind of came in there because he changed his line of work, and I did do a little bit of computer work, graphics, things like that when I was in New York as part-time. So I always did enjoy technology. But anyway, needing a house, I got a job. I took a job with Dell, and I haven't left that since. That was 26 years ago. I happened to fall into cybersecurity because I was a program manager, and I had a program offered to me. And it was about data classification. In time, I became a strategist for enterprise data management or data governance, rolling out a strategy that I was able to create with a group of people that was rolled out to all of the global team members, and you're still using it today. Data classification, the 4 categories, how data is protected, why we protect it, what processes are around data loss prevention and retention and disposition. I got to roll that out a long time ago, and I really started to enjoy security then. Well, I'd say the most challenging part of my role is really kind of being a woman and not taking no for an answer when there's things to be done. When I feel I have to do something that's valuable or good for Dell, and I'm working with an unwilling partner, that can be challenging, right? So unwillingness can be for many reasons. Some people just don't have vision. Other people don't want to work with a woman. Other people don't want the woman to take the lead. Other people feel like, you know what, I'm not sure if this is really important. So I'm going to say that because of those kinds of challenges, I've really learned the art of persuasion. I value partnerships, and building people's confidence in my vision or collective vision is something I really enjoy doing. I enjoy that because I think that it's exciting being a woman in cybersecurity, right? It means that you have to prove yourself. But I will say that sometimes proving myself can be a little bit different than what I see my male counterparts do. They don't always have to prove and reprove. They can often be looked at for their potential. So you have to change people's view, basically recognizing that everything you're doing is kind of a performance. It's out there, it's being seen, it's building your brand, it's helping people understand who you are. And if you can get them to change looking at you as a woman with looking at you as a security professional, you've done a really good job of helping them to see who you are. Your potential comes out simply because you're working and making great partnerships and doing amazing things at the company that you're working for. So I'd say it's not easy, but I've matured in life, and I've matured in my career. And that means that I'm good. I'm good and secure with what I know that I know. And I'm wonderfully happy to inspire and assist other people to do what they do. So much like what I heard Ashwini say, you got to go in there and say, hey, this is a group, we're all a group of rock stars. Let's just get this thing done, right? We've got happiness and excitement. We're smart. Let's do this. And you do find that a lot of your wins are going to come from just people being good with who you are. So I'd say that has been a challenge in the past. I don't find it as much of a challenge now, but growing your career and reaching certain levels will always be a challenge for women in cybersecurity. I don't want to ignore that fact. But I will say that it's been fun, and I'm still having fun, which is why I'm still here. And I feel like I am helpful to make other people's work easier and to partner with them to do great things.
Well, you led us really well into one of the questions we got from someone in our audience here. So first of all, they thanked us, which is great because it does take time to come here, and we really are happy to be here. But it says, how or what do you recommend how women can move, interview, or push into IT generally, and more specifically into cybersecurity better? How can we influence a new generation of women to dive into cyber more? So I'm going to probably go back to you, Tonya, first, because I know that you did some work in this area representing Dell. So why don't we start with you, and then anybody else, feel free to chime in after Tonya that wants to add in.
Well, I'd say I usually tell women almost to think about what they like doing. Don't think about it as security. Everyone's not going to come in and be a developer. Everyone is not going to want to be extremely technical. But you have to understand an entire organization of security professionals needs a lot of other activities around them to get work done, right? So if you like to solve problems, if you like to strategize with people who are extremely technical and translate what they're saying into, let's just say, rules, or let's just say a marketing way, because the fact is we have to market security in order to be a good company. What I do is marketing all the great things that this team does. They're thinking technical. I'm thinking, wait a minute. I need to make sure that people understand that technical work really is keeping us secure, making sure that they can, that people cannot think about what we do on the back end because we do it so well. So if you like to fix problems, if you like to package situations, if you like to interview a bunch of people to find out and make a story, if you like to program manage, which means you like to literally keep people in line and manage budgets and manage, you know, big efforts without really being involved, but being a part of that back end that keeps it looking good. Or you like to do metrics, you like data, you like numbers, you like information. There are roles for you. And you don't have to worry about being that developer or being that engineer. Those engineers and those developers, they worked years for it. You want to switch? You can switch, and we still have need for you within program management or governance or compliance or any area that is kind of those areas that package security. It's plenty of stuff for you to do. So think about security, not specifically because you're technical. Think about security because it's an environment that is dynamic, important, and needs the help and great, you know, professionals around them, because it's the future. It's now, and it will always be the future as long as we have technology out there.
Absolutely. Anyone else want to add in?
So I just want to agree 100% with Tonya. I love escape rooms, right? I love, you know, trying to analyze, and I love Sherlock. So that investigative quality, I just love being a part of it. And so that's why, you know, to your point, I mean, I got into digital forensics and I loved it. I've switched now, but initially it was very exciting. There's a lot of analysis to do. There's a lot of kind of finding those flags, kind of, you know, finding those little hidden, you know, pieces here and there. So absolutely, you know, go with your passion. Like, what do you like to do? And that would really direct, you know, you with your career. There's so much to do within cybersecurity, right? You have, you know, if you're not the best hacker or bug bounty hunter, that's not a problem, right? If you love technology, you can aim for it. But other than that, I mean, there's auditing, there's cybersecurity awareness. You know, that is a huge part if you're good with people. You know, because without awareness, I mean, you know, companies are going to be hacked left, right, and center, right? Because phishing is one of the biggest, and social engineering is one of the biggest attack vectors. So there's also, you know, we work with people in legal, sales. We have champions for security from those other orgs. So no matter what your background, I mean, there's always a place in security for you.
Yeah, and I think someone asked, and it also asked, what positions have the most need of being filled out right now in cybersecurity? Is it just all of them? And the answer is yes, it's just all of them. You know, so there's a lot of jobs out there, and so I encourage more and more people to go into the field. I've been in it for over 10 years in cybersecurity. I absolutely love it. I learn something new every day. It's always a challenge. And you know, and I feel you know, that it's always going to be there, like Tonya was just saying. Like, you're always going to need more cybersecurity folks as long as there's technology out there. One of the things that was asked also in the question is, how can we influence a new generation of women to dive into cyber more? So in this, I think, you know, all of us putting time into doing panels like this, or doing mentoring. You know, Dell's a partner with WiCyS, so that is another way to try to make sure that we're influencing, not only are retaining our current talent in women in there in cybersecurity with our partnership, but that we're trying to influence the next generation by doing things like this. A lot of us on this panel give a lot of our time back into doing that mentoring, or going to visit high schools, or you know, schools like that, to just talk about what our careers are. And I think that's an important thing to do. I don't know if anyone else wants to add any other things that you all do, on anybody on this panel besides what I mentioned.
There's also the STEM program. So Dell does actually partner, you know, for the STEM mentoring, the science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So I've been a mentor for STEM as well. So, you know, if you are a cybersecurity professional, you know, be a mentor, or if you want to get more, you are interested and you want to get into the field, you know, be a mentee. So the STEM program is absolutely wonderful, you know, to encourage women in these engineering positions, and cybersecurity as well.
Great. So we have one new question that just came in. When searching for a non-technical role in cybersecurity, what job titles should we look for? Product management, program management are first ones that come to mind for me. Anyone else have any other?
I can speak to job titles and the confusion over it, because even though I would consider myself new to cybersecurity, having the job title for many years of an intelligence analyst in security means that I have been approached by so many vendors thinking that I'm in a technical role, and I'm not. So I think because we're in an emerging frontier, there hasn't been standardization of titles across the field. I think it's less about titles and more about job descriptions, but I completely agree that fluency in cybersecurity and understanding of the underpinnings of what goes into, the field is absolutely critical. It's a critical skill set increasingly for non-technical roles.
Yeah, I was going to also add in there that we have security marketing. We have a business intelligence, which is going to be about metrics and reporting. We have, as was mentioned before, we have kind of security law. If you're interested in the laws of security, we have business analysts, change managers, governance, risk, and compliance would also be another area. Maybe if you like privacy, we need some privacy alignment in that environment. And those are roles that are not specifically technical. You will learn technical things in that, but you're not specifically doing that. So if that helps, those are some other roles.
I
Right.
think
So,
learning and development is also a good opportunity. Learning and development. Yeah.
yeah, yes,
Learning
you're
and
right. Learning and
development,
development.
training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how we train all our developers throughout the company about our security practices and to better make secure products. So I love it. So speaking of learning and development, if we talk about learning, how do we ourselves stay current and continue to learn in our field? What skills and qualifications are necessary for success in your pillar? And how can professionals continue to develop these skills throughout their careers? So, Lavanya, we haven't heard from you in a while. Why don't you take that one?
Okay. So first thing is Dell has an security internal program been there where we make sure that all the trainings has been completed, which is a mandate for us. So we also conduct hackathon sessions. I do make sure that I do stay up to date with the latest current security threats and technologies by mainly going through this industry publications to understand what is available in newsletters, webinars, multiple things there. So there are multiple skills. So one, I would say the skills, main skills we would say is the communication skills. So being technical or non-technical, communication skill matters because it requires we deliver the right message at the right time to the right people. That is more important. And second thing is being honest and being transparent. That matters more because being transparent builds trust there, and also by being trust we communicate with integrity and making sure that we are respected and loyalty takes place. And also I would say like qualifications as such, um, we need to be mainly we have to research first. Research is the main point of thing which we have to do because the more you say research, the more you gain knowledge. And also we need to work with mentors, leaders to understand know how they are coming in, what experience they are facing, what are the security practices they have been implemented. So these are all things which help us learning things. And also there are various tools available. I would say that from my side, I would already go through online courses and plural side. There are both licensed as well as non-licensed versions which is available, but I would suggest which is best suited for them. What do they want to learn? What, because security is just like an ocean, we are just a droplets in that. But how do you make sure what you want to learn, and what is expected out of it? That matters the most. And this qualifications is like what you want to understand more onto it. How do you want to implement? There are various things available on net. LinkedIn is one of it where you get multiple posts on auditing and everything. And also there are multiple podcasts. I listen to some of the podcasts like security smashing where they give uh, details of the cybercrime, the hacks, everything because I'm interested with that. So I go through that. But it depends on the podcast what each one of you want to listen to. And there is hacking humans, which tells you how what are the sites with the hacks happens in. So because we know that every tourist places there are some of the other hacks happening in. How do we identify those hacks? These are things which we get to know. And there's breaking barriers there where they tell stories how these things happen right from the newcomers till the security professionals how they do it. So, and also I'm part of this ISAC that is in I forgot the full form of it. But ISACA, where we have the certification programs been there like CSAM, CISA, everything. But I go through their conferences and webinars because that's more interesting. Like, how do you want to progress in your career? What are the things you want to go? Because this is the best one which has been recognized across the industry. So I would say learning is the most important aspect. It may be right from anybody, anyone in the world, but you need to be more open-minded to understand what is coming in, what you want to know, and how it can be implemented. I would say that.
Great. So we're running out of time here, but I want to go quickly with roundtable real quick. What is one tip for women in cybersecurity? So Neha, let me start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to give to just quickly, right? So never stop learning, as Lavanya said. Challenge yourself as technology changes. We have to adapt, but also apply the knowledge, right? To quote one of the German poets, knowing is not